Radical readers, today you are going to need your Small Wonders book. You are also going to need your Turn book. So make sure you have both of those things. I'm going to share my screen with you. So we are going to turn to page 304 in our Small Wonders book. And then I also want you to make sure you have, and you can just tear it out, page 182, from your Turn book. Okay, guys? So today we are going to read a really cool story about the Wright brothers. And I think by looking at the picture, if you have not heard of the Wright brothers, you can make a pretty good prediction about what the Wright brothers are famous for. What's your inference? What do you infer? They are famous for flying an airplane. Okay, so as we are reading about the Wright brothers, we are going to be sequencing, remember, putting events in order, but we're going to really be thinking about the cause and the effect relationships in this story. So remember, the cause is always going to come first. And I always tell you to plug in that B, because if you plug that in, a lot of times it will help you. So it's the first in the sequence of cause and effect. The cause always comes first. And remember, the cause is the why. Okay? Then the effect comes second in that relationship, and it's the result. It is the result. Okay? So we will read the story first together, and then we will go back and we will sequence cause and effect relationships. Sound good, guys? All right, here we go. Go ahead and read along with me. Opposite way. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Here we go. Orville and Wilbur Wright stood on a cold, windy beach in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The brothers traveled a long way from their home in Dayton, Ohio, to test their newest flying machine. Flying had been their dream since their father had given them a toy helicopter. The Wright brothers owned a bicycle shop in Dayton. In addition to selling, building, and repairing bicycles, they built flying machines. They flew the first ones around in 1899. However, the winds weren't strong enough to keep the machines in motion. So they looked for a place where the winds were stronger. As a result, they chose Kitty Hawk. It was not only windy there, but the sandy beaches made for soft landings. So you might have noticed in the tone of my voice, when I got a little bit higher on some of them, I was excited because, guys, there are some cause and effect words that we can look for, not just that because, but that help us know some relationships. So I want you to stop and I want you to think about this first page. And normally when we sequence the beginning, our first event is on the first page. So if we go back and we look at the second paragraph, I want you to think about this. Think about how we learned that first they were making bicycles, but they also built flying machines. However, the winds weren't strong enough to keep the machine in motion. So because the winds weren't strong enough, let's go ahead and write that for our first one. result, what happened because the winds weren't strong enough? What did they do? Why don't you take a minute and see if you can reread. I'll move this, make it a little bit smaller so you can see both. Why don't you go ahead and reread that? Take a minute and reread the second paragraph and see if you can find the result to that cause, the effect. Well, I don't know about you, but the word result jumps out at me. That's an effect keyword, guys. So it says, let me make it a little bit bigger for you. So they looked for a place where the winds were stronger. As a result, they chose Kitty Hawk. So because the winds weren't strong enough, what happened? They found a place where the winds were, right? And that happened to be in Kitty Hawk. So the effect was they looked for a place with stronger winds and found Kitty Hawk. Or you could have said they chose. Okay? All right. So let's read. And I don't know, I hope you're noticing these nonfiction text features. We've got a photograph. Underneath the photograph is a caption. On December 17th, 1903, the Wright Flyer flew for 12 seconds at Kitty Hawk. This is the Wright Flyer. All right, moving on to the next page. Oops. All right, remember those keywords. So we already heard some effect keywords. Let's see if we can find some cause keywords on this page. Okay, go ahead and read it with me. Because their first flight was not successful, the Wright brothers learned a lot about flying. As a result, are you hearing lots of these words? Me too. Let's keep reading though. As a result, they built a better glider with bigger wings in 1900. This glider did not work very well either. The brothers did not give up. That's why they experimented with a new glider in 1902. Then in 1903, they built the Wright Flyer, their first airplane with an engine. Do we see a second, our next sequence? Was it in this first paragraph? I agree. Let's look. Because their first flight was not successful. Is that our next cause? Yeah, let's go ahead and write it down. Was not successful. That is one I always forget how to spell. So because their first flight was not successful, what happened? Go ahead and take a minute and look through that paragraph. If we keep reading, I see another clue word. As a result, they built a better glider with bigger wings in 1900. Do we agree that would be a great result, a great effect? Yes. All right, you should be finishing up that effect, and you should be looking at this nonfiction text feature right here. Do you remember what that's called? It says flying first. It's like that mini title. What's that mini title called? I'm giving you a clue. You should be yelling it to me. Headings, right? So flying firsts. Let's go ahead and read that together. By December 17th, the brothers were ready to test the Wright Flyer. Orville started up the engine to power the plane. He controlled the plane while Wilbur watched from the ground. The flyer was launched into the sky. The plane moved in an upward direction, and the flight lasted 12 seconds. Sorry, guys, I'm making it in and out. I'm realizing you can't see it very good. All right. You should be reading along, so you should see it in your book if you can't see it very well in mine. The Wright brothers had conquered gravity and unlocked the secrets of flying. Orville and Wilbur kept improving their planes, and their flights became longer. Soon, other people tried to fly airplanes. Let's look at this. This is an illustration. And let's read this caption. Alberto Santos Dumont was the third man in the world to fly a plane with an engine. Down here, it looks like it has a little science experiment for you. Okay. And then let's keep reading and we'll work on our last two. We just got this last page. Alberto Santos Dumont was an inventor and a pilot from Brazil. In 1906, he made the first official flight in front of an audience. The next year, the French pilot, Henry Farman, took along a passenger in his plane. They flew for 1 minute and 14 seconds. Here's our last heading. Better flying machines. Because of these flights, airplane research became popular with inventors. You guys hearing some keywords? Before long, better planes were traveling longer distances. In 1909, a French pilot flew an airplane across the English Channel. This plane was very different from the Wright brothers' plane. The new plane had only one long wing across its body. It looked a lot like today's airplane. Yep. Soon, inventors began building airplanes that could carry more people. By 1920, several new companies offered passengers the chance to fly. Humans had done the impossible. They had figured out how to fly. All right, so we did our first and our second event in the story. We need to do our last two events. Okay, so let's go back to this page 306, and I want you to reread the heading flying firsts. I want you to see if you can find any keywords that might help us figure out our cause and effect. Right, let's reread it together. By December 17th, the brothers were ready to test the Wright Flyer. Orville started up the engines to power the plane. He controlled the plane while Wilbur watched from the ground. The flyer was launched into the sky. The plane moved in an upward direction, and the flight lasted 12 seconds. The Wright brothers had conquered gravity and unlocked the secrets of flying. Orville and Wilbur kept improving their planes, and their flights became longer. Soon, other people tried to fly planes. So were they successful at first? No. And that goes with our vocabulary words, right? It was challenging, but they were determined. They did not give up. What did they keep doing after their planes weren't very successful? They kept improving their planes, right? And as a result, what happened? So because Orville and Wilbur kept improving their planes, their flights became longer. Let's go ahead and write that one. And then because of that, they were able to fly longer, right? See, what did it say? Their flights became longer. Okay, and then let's think about at the very end. Did you see any because I do. Because of these flights, airplane research became popular with inventors. Do you think that's a cause and effect? It is. So here's my challenge for you. I'm going to give you the effect, and I want you to come up with the cause. So if my effect is research, go ahead and copy this down, about airplanes became popular with inventors. What came first? So I want you to read that paragraph, and I want you to come up with the cause, because, the why. Okay, guys? And that will be your discussion post for today. All right. I know this is tricky. We're going to spend the rest of the week working on this and next week. So if it feels a little bit challenging for you, that's okay. This is our first day. But remember, we want to look for those key words. Okay? As a result, because, those are going to help us identify our cause and effect relationships. All right, you did a fabulous job. Don't forget to finish up this last cause. Because blank, research about airplanes became popular with inventors. All right, I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.